Hello. Previously, you probably observed or watched our video on how to set up your bSoft software. Now we'd like to begin teaching you how to use the program function. In this session, we're going to talk about programming PLUs and the things you can do with that and how you send it to your scale. So we begin here by clicking on the bPro English. Microsoft will ask us if we want to allow that to run, and we want to say yes to that. Here is our password, and we're going to just click OK to go past that. Now we're going to begin by going over here to PLU right here, and we're going to click there. And we're going to start by clicking a new file. So we're going to say, call this our new PLU. You can put a remark in. The remark just will help you to remember what this file is, if it's a certain department or a weekly sale or something like that. And then we say OK to that. Now we have our new PLU file here. If we open that up, we open up to this screen here. We can click on New. And we come to an edit screen here, PLU Edit. And it gives us all this information that we can fill out about PLUs. So I'm going to try to explain to you what a lot of those are. And hopefully that will make good sense to you. So you begin by a PLU. Usually we use a 3-digit number. You can use up to a 6-digit number, but a 3-digit number I find is very good because you can have 9 categories with 100 items in each category. So we're going to start out with number 100. Then I'm going to tab to the next field. That is your item number. If you're scanning, this is the number that gets embedded in the barcode. So typically we'll make that the same number. Then we are going to tab to our PLU name, and we're going to just put in today ground beef. We're going to tab to our next field, second line of description, and I'm going to put fresh ground. We tab to, we can have a third or a fourth line. They are not real commonly used, but if you want, you can. Sometimes we use those for an alternate language, and that's helpful. We're going to sell it by weight. If we need to change that, we click on the little down arrow here. If we want to sell something by count or standard pack are the most common, but we're going to do this particular one by weight. We're going to go to our unit price and put in a unit price of, we're going to say $4.99 today. We're going to tab. We can go to second price. That would be used for stores that have member discounts, and or you want to show sale price and regular price and sale price on your label. Those are things that we can do, not commonly used. Then we're going to go to our tare. So we're going to be putting this in a container. So we want to take a 0.03 tare. Proportional tare we're not going to be using. What that does is takes a percentage tare. As the weight goes up, it takes greater tare. Not real common, used sometimes for weighing things like suckers, where you have sticks and wrappers, and we have to subtract that amount because that's not an edible part of the product. We have now tare 2. Tare 2 is used when you have multiple scales in a network and you may have one in a back room and one on a service counter. You can tell the unit to use the alternate tare so that you can use the same PLU file and have different tare setups for counter versus pre-pack. And then you have tare 2 proportional. Label number has to do with the design of the label and what you want to print on the label and how you want the label to print. If you leave it at 0, then the machine will print a default label, and you can have up to 100 different label designs that you can put up in the number here. You can also have a second label, which could be only ingredients. So your first label could be a price label, and your second one could be an ingredient label, or a cooking instructions, and that has a format number, which you would create in another area. Then we have the third label, not very commonly used, but could be, because sometimes we'll use a price label with a nutritional label and a cooking instructions. Department number is not commonly used, but it can be put in this PLU can be put in a specific department. Then we're going to tab to our extra ET1. That stands for extra text. That can be ingredients, could be cooking instructions, could be a recipe. But normally, if you're going to enter that, you're going to put in the number of the PLU. In this case, ground beef does not have any ingredients, so we're going to leave it blank. ET2 is for if we want to use that for either listing allergens or cooking instructions or recipes. It's just another text field, and that can be up to like 1,500 characters or more. Then we're going to go to our next step down here, nutritional NF number. If we want nutritional to print, then we put a number in here. We'll link that to a nutritional panel that we've created elsewhere. Group is a subset like department up here. You can put things in groups. So if you wanted all your beef in a group, you could put like all your beef in group 1. And we're going to tab here to safe handling number. That is only used when we need to do an alternate safe handling, which is a rare instance, but there are times where we have to do that. We will be putting a number here, but it is not commonly used. Graphic number 1, that can be a linked graphic to print on a specific label. So that could be if this was a certified Angus or something, and we wanted to put that on there and we used the symbol for that, we could. And then we tab to graphic 2. Graphic 2 is another linked graphic. Special message is a number again, and that number is linking to a file. So that's almost like a 5th line of description, but if we use that for more common things, we're repeating things like maybe organic or market made or everyday low price or something like that. Then we tab here, we go to our sell by days, and you put in, so if this is prepackaged items, we may want to say the ground beef is good for, let's say 3 days. You can also have a best before if you want to print that on the label and select a number of days that's usually going to be greater than the sell by days. We have a traceability number that has to do with a lot number. We also have trace process number that has to do with dating information about when the product was produced or made, so we can put specific dates on. Supplier number is another text field we can put on. We put a number there. We make another table with text in that links. Then we have here the COOL number. COOL stands for country of origin labeling. So if you were to say like product of the USA, that might be a 1. Product of Canada might be a 2. Product of Mexico, 3. Product of Costa Rica might be 9. Okay, so you can put a number in here, and then we create a list elsewhere with those numbers equal to those different countries. The COOL production, COOL country, COOL pretext, and TLV are really all done in the COOL number. Now we're going to move over here, up on the top here to the frequent shopper type. Typically that is just set to none. Unless you're doing the 2 pricing thing, then you have to make some decisions here about how you're discounting this product and how those 2 prices are being applied. Normally we want to allow price change, but some cases we do not, and you would want to uncheck that. It's very PLU specific. We have discount enabled and dual price flag. Those have to do with how you set up this frequent shopper type. In the box here marked forced, we can do force the operator to have to do different things. If we turn on the force tear, what it'll do is when this number is entered in the scale, it'll force the operator to make a decision about tear. So if we have different package sizes, we can do that to make sure they're taking proper tears. Down here we go to the blank, and in the blank, and really the next several, these print dates are ways to blank things off on the label, but we don't use those a whole lot. Usually we do that with our label design, and we're going to use that with the label number we assign over here to turn those fields off, as opposed to using these over here. Then we have these, the cool flag, the traceability, trace process, and supplier flags. Those can be disabled, which is common, but you can also enable database to pull out from a list. You can also do forced operator, which makes the operator make decisions about this product as to country of origin for cool, or a traceability flag, which would be for a batch number or a lot number. And trace process could be enabled forced, and they can key in a date that they need. And supplier is another option that you can use, a database or the forced option. Once you have created all these, we can hit save and add or OK. If we say OK, it will just exit us. If we say save and add, then it will just give us another box, and we can go in and put in a new item. So now let's say we want to put in number 102, and we want to go to item number 102, and we're going to say that this is pork sausage, and we might want to say that it is a ranch style, and we're going to sell this by weight, and our price is going to be $2.89, and we're going to take a tear of a 0.02. And then you can skip down and say, no, I want to go down here and I want us to have ingredients print on this. So we're going to put 102 here, and we are going to put a shelf life on it of 4 days. And that's really the main things that I'm going to fill out on this particular product. And then I can say, okay. And now I have these two items here. And now if I want to transfer them down to my scale, I go up here to either the transmit or the arrow here. If I hit the arrow, you can see I can go from the scale back to the computer, or I can go from the PC to the scale. So if I click PC to scale, I can either check mark my scale here or do select all here. That will check it for me, and hit transmit. And it says 100% success, and that means I have transferred the information down to my scale unit. A couple of other things to be aware of in programming of PLUs. We have this define PLU content tab here. So if we want to limit all those things we are filling out, we can open define PLU content. We can say we want to just clear everything, and now we want to just do certain items, and I want to turn on only a few functions, and I don't need all those things that we talked about on. And so I can go in and be selective as to what I turn on and what I don't. And so if I allow those things and I say okay to that, and you have to say okay, not just close the window. Now if I open up this PLU, you will notice that there's a bunch of things here that are grayed out because I said I'm not going to use those. So when I tab through my fields, I will only be filling in the things that I find are important for my application. Another feature you have down here is to copy PLU. So if you make a different style of pork sausage, we can go here to copy PLU, click the Save and Add button. You'll notice that everything stayed the same, but the PLU went blank. So I can say this is going to be number 103, and I want to call this one a farm style. And maybe I'm doing this in a fixed weight. So I want to go to a standard pack, and the price is going to be a little bit more because this is a little more desirable seasoning for some people in my area. So I'm going to say $3.29 is my price. And I'm going to say the quantity is 1, and I'm going to sell this for exactly 1 pound. So I'm going to say that it is 16 ounces. My ingredients is going to be a little different. So I'm going to go down here and change that ingredient statement. And I'm all done. I can say, okay, I add it to my list. I can either send the whole file, or I can just highlight 1 or 2 items like so, and then go to my transfer, PC to scale, and it will just send the ones I have highlighted. And it'll be very quick and to do that. And then you can close here. If you're going to retrieve files from your scale, then you can go to the transmit, scale to PC, click here, click your scale, hit transmit, and it will bring up. Now, apparently I have a lot of things in my scale besides what I just sent down, because if I open this up, you can see I have a whole bunch of things programmed in here. And if I want to, I can leave that or keep that. Or if I want to clear my scale before I send a file, I can go here and delete data from scale. It will allow me to delete all PLUs. So if I click here and say OK, and select my scale and transmit, it'll say that it did that. Now if I were to go back to my original file here and transmit it, PC to scale, to the scale, transmit it. Now let's say I want to close this file and I want to go and retrieve it from my scale. I'm going to go scale to PC, check my scale, transmit. You'll see it was much faster if I open that file now. And you can tell by the time that it was a later file, because this is the time here with the date. So there are just the 3 items that I had sent to my scale that I pulled back. Now, sometimes I want to have 2 files, because this may be a file I'm going to set up for weekly add items for next week. So if I want to go in and say that the ranch style pork sausage is going to be on sale, I can just go here and change this to $2.59 if I wish, and have it there. If I close this file, I can go in and rename this file by clicking it, modify. And instead of saying import scale file, I can say next week's sale items. I can give it a date if I wish. And now that has that file. So I have my new PLUs that are my active file, and this one I'm setting up for my sale for next week. And you can toggle between those for this week and then go back to this for the previous week. So it allows me to store that information right here in the scale. So I think that covers programming of PLUs. And if you have any questions, feel free to call Kent Butcher Supply, 1-800-632-1983. It was my pleasure to share with you how to program on your bPro.